Hi, I wanted to make a little film to update everyone about the Sun Heart Temple land because I didn't really make an update when I was out there. So while I was out in Portugal this time, I was hoping to meet the builders and to get some gardeners in to clear some of the land, and that didn't happen. But what Jason and I did was we got pickaxes and um, spades, and we leveled out the track that leads down to the land, because like I said in my last video, the pine forest was cut down just behind the ruin, and it even though that was sad that the trees had gone, it created a bigger track for to get directly to the ruin. So it just needed levelling out. So we were out there levelling it all and making it flat so that volunteers can come and start to get down into the land and stay in camper vans, or just to get the builders to the ruin as well. So that's what I did when I was out there. Spent a lot of time doing that and just sitting and listening to the land and feeling what's being called for there. And yeah, when I was there, I noticed, because the land is it's an old rustica land, which is like old agricultural land, and it's got the ruin is actually a little hut where they would have had the animals underneath and they would have slept above. And so the land was agricultural land within a forest, and all around the land there's a lot of pine, but there's also a lot of deciduous trees, like we said before: chestnut, cherry, oak. And yeah, I realised when that little forest was cut down that actually there's only about 3 pine trees on the actual Sun Heart Temple land, which was surprising because it looks like more, but it's like in the illusion of the surrounding forest. And you can see the stumps where people have cut the plantation down on the land. And actually, what it was brambles, bracken, and jest, and in it, amongst it, was like some small oaks, quite small oak, quite young oaks. And so over the past week, maybe it is, while I've been here in the UK, the Portuguese land clearance gardener people have been there, because I asked them to clear the brambles, because the land was, sort of impenetrable because there were so many brambles. And even though I love brambles and the birds love brambles, there's a huge amount of it already in the forest. And it's hard to get down into the land because there's just so much of it. And so they've cleared the land, and wow, what a difference. It's basically uncovered, which happened on Jason's temple land. It uncovered some trees that the bramble was so high. There's actually quite a lot of saplings, young trees trying to grow underneath, so it's cleared the way for those trees to grow. So down by the river there's a lot of willow that we hadn't seen, that's been uncovered, and some small oaks and things like that. And now it's like a beautiful rich blank canvas, because I didn't realise how much bramble there was. So it's like most of the land now is like a bare, like, forest floor. It's such beautiful soil. It's had so, it hasn't had, it's not had compaction from animals and from grass. It's been the brambles are being turned in, so they'll create more. The bramble roots are being turned in, so they're going to create more humus. But basically it's like a rich forest floor, so it's perfect for planting trees in. And I've had land before in the past, and we've planted it up with trees, and we've been planting trees into grassy fields. And I learned a few years ago, what was happening is that people are trying to reforest the earth by planting young trees into grass, into fields, and actually what happens there, because of the compaction of the animals and because of the grass, the trees can't actually get their roots down deep enough to get a good holding, to get a good root system going. And also because there's no mother trees around, they're not getting nurtured, so they haven't got the forest floor and they haven't got the mother trees feeding them. So this is the first time I've actually worked with land that's got an incredibly rich forest floor. And so even though it looks really different now because it's like a lot of space, it looks like a different bit of land. It's like what we want to do now is look at indigenous native trees to get a sense of what trees are good for resistance to the fires, what would have been there. I mean, there is already, like I said, chestnut, oak, willow, elder, hawthorn, cherry, so there's, we're going to be looking at what indigenous native trees we can plant, and they're going to get a really good start. So before so my past has always been rewilding. Like, I'm not a gardener, as in I don't grow vegetables and things like that. What I've been doing in my life is going around to different bits of land and trying to rewild the land, but at the same time create foraging rich sites. So that's been my past path with land, and I've learned quite a bit about rewilding, and I've learned quite a bit about food forests. So that's what we're looking at creating. So because there isn't actually any plantation on the land, we can get going with getting a young forest this autumn. So we're going to be spending some of the money on buying some quite big trees that are already established that we can put into this incredibly amazingly rich soil. So that's what we're asking for in the crowdfund, is to be able to rewild the land with indigenous native trees that would have been there, and also looking at what ground cover would be there, what flowers, what plants would have been there before, and bringing those back, especially the rare ones that have lost their habitat. So if any of you know anything about Portuguese natural habitat of the forest of the Serra da Estrela, I'd love to hear, and also where we can buy these plants. And also, if you want to donate now money towards rewilding the land, we'd be really, really grateful. And so in the autumn we're hoping to plant some trees, so if anybody wants to come plant some trees. And so we're feeling like some of the land needs to be a food forest, which might not necessarily be truly indigenous, but really feeling the need for a foraging forest there, so we can actually have some food growing as well. So it's really exciting. And also Jason's land, he cut the brambles on his land too, and wow, it's uncovered a huge amount of trees there that he didn't know that he had, and it's just an incredible garden already, so it's that thing of listening to the land, feeling the land, but also taking care of it in a way that allows it to flourish in its kind of indigenous expression, also having food growing as well. So I'm open to suggestions, and also donations we would be eternally grateful for. So for those of you who've been supporting us and cheering us on and donating and messaging, we're so grateful. And Hannah's going to be travelling out there soon to spend some time there, because obviously you can see she hasn't spent as much time there as me, so that's going to be exciting. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. Blessings. Thank you for listening.